Hi guys, I am Anna Maria. I'm a physiotherapist with Taylor Physiotherapy. I'm sure some of you have met me already. If not, this is me. I promised earlier on in the week that I will do a 30-minute exercise session. Given that everyone is staying at home, I just want to make sure everyone keeps moving. I have a few patients that are in the overs category, so this video is mainly dedicated to them. If you still want to come along and do the exercises, and even if you're not categorized in the overs, you can do it as well. You could do this if you have a little bit of back pain, just to get you going and moving a little bit more. You don't need much. All you need is a chair. If you have lack of balance, make sure that chair is against the wall so that it doesn't move for you, and you can have some weights with you as well. The weights are mainly for your upper body. If you don't have any weights, you can use an empty bottle of detergent, which I'm using here, not giving any publicity to any detergents, it's just the detergents we use. And this is easy. If you don't have this size, you can have different sizes. You can also use heavy box, so really whatever you can find at home. Make sure you are well hydrated if you are watching this from a hot country, and that you are wearing comfortable clothes. So we're going to do a few exercises. Some will increase your heart rate, so please, if you feel that you need to slow it down at your own pace. Make sure that if you are under any kind of medication or have any underlying conditions that you can't do certain things, not to push it. And if you have any questions, we are always welcome to answer any of your questions. You can reach us by email, or by sending us, or by calling us if you're from Edinburgh, or by DMing us if you're on social media. So you can do all of that. So I'm going to start off. It's not purely Pilates, but because I teach Pilates, there are a few things that are Pilates related, and I'll give you easier and harder options. Please don't feel you have to do everything. You can split this, you can do half of it, you can do whatever you like, and just, yeah, let's get you going. So I'm sorry if the video is not great quality, but I promise I'll improve on this. So starting off, I'm going to turn the chair so that you can see me a bit better, and we're going to start off through your feet, into the knees, into the hips, into your body, just getting you warmed up. I'm just going to lower it a tiny bit so you can see my feet. So you're not going to see my face for now. So feet underneath your hips. You can hold onto the chair if you want to, or you can keep your hands onto your hips to make it a bit harder for you. So we're going to start shifting your weight forwards and backwards. So it's a nice, easy way to start off with, and this is what I mostly start off with in my Pilates classes. And this is just to get your feet muscles to almost wake up a little bit. Very good. So we're going to do one more of that. Again, if you need to hold onto the chair. You can also do it facing the chair if you need to, but I'm going to just stay forwards. Now, if you can go starting off lifting up on tiptoes and then coming back down. So you can feel my ankles clicking, which is a very normal thing. And I want you to just make sure not to overarch. So when you lift up, don't kick your heels in, just try and keep them as parallel as possible. If you can't go all the way, don't worry. If you can't go on tiptoes, just keep shifting your weight forwards and backwards. And as you're going backwards, lift your toes. So easy version, keep your feet on the floor. A little bit harder, rise on tiptoes. So this is important to get your circulation going, because we're spending a lot of time at home, we're commuting less. So we need to make sure we move about and not get that circulation stagnant into your feet. So one more of those. Very good. Now keep your feet flat. So we're going to go into a knee fold next. So we're going to just flow that leg a little bit forwards without lifting it off the floor, and then coming back down. Then we do the opposite, and then come back down. Then do the opposite. So we're going to keep alternating. Really nice and easy folding through that knee. Again, any toe issue, don't push forwards. So just knee folding forwards rather than pushing onto your toes. If you don't want to, you have 4 more. Again, you can let go of the chair. You can put your hands on your hips. Last one. Very good. Now, following from that, we're going to go up a little bit. So again, if you need to hold, you can hold. If you want to challenge, hands onto your hips. Lift one leg up, and then we're going to drop. Then we do the opposite, and drop. Lift the opposite, and drop. And we're changing from one leg to another. Again, you don't need to lift it all the way. You can lift half, or if you can't lift it at all, keep doing those knee folds that we started off with, so the easy version. You can also do them with your hands holding onto the chair, so there's no real forced way of what you need to do. So we're going to keep going if you manage. Again, if you want to challenge your balance and you're perfectly fine onto your feet, just keep going for 4 more. 3, 2, 1 more. Very good. Right, so now we're going to open up a little bit those hips. Again, you can hold if you need to. Bring your right toe next to your left ankle. If you have any issues with your toe, lift it higher up so you don't need to push onto that toe. And if you want for balance, you can keep your leg high up, but you don't need to. So you can rest it onto the floor to begin it. So you're going to open your knee and then come back in. Open the knee, coming back in. So we're trying to open up that hip into a more open position, almost like a clam or a tree pose into your yoga if you ever go. Now if you have any hip OA, so arthritis in the hip, or if you have a total hip replacement, if you're fresh out of a total hip, don't push it, and I don't want you to overextend it out. But if you've had a hip replacement before for a while, this is a nice and easy to open up, and just make sure you're not causing any excessive amount of pain or discomfort. 1 more. Very good. Opposite side, again, toe on the floor or else up next to your thigh, you're opening out and close. Again, these can be done with both hands onto the chair. Just make sure you're nice and safe. 3, 2, 1 more. Very good. And then we drop down. So now your hips and your knees are nice and open a little bit. So now we're going to focus onto your waist and onto the shoulders before we get a little bit harder. So we're going to bend to the side again. Hand onto the chair if you need to, and then bend away from the chair. Or if you don't want to hold onto the chair, you can bend on alternate hands. So it's up to you what you want. You can make it easier for you by alternating the hands to the side and then switching around. Really trying to open up that side of your waist. And we're doing 1 more on each side. Very good. 1 to finish. Well done. Now I'm just going to squat a little bit just so you can see me roll the shoulders back. We're going to go big round circles to roll those shoulders. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now roll them forwards for 4. Big, and exaggerate the movement for me. 3, 2, 1. Very good. Right, so now we're going to turn facing the chair. So if you have already been facing the chair, stay there. We're going to do some half squats, okay? Later on we're going to do some chair squats, but these are a little bit easier to start warming up your feet. So feet round underneath your hips, and what you want to do is think of you going to sit back, and then you're going to squeeze back up. So you're thinking of sitting your hips back, and then squeezing your hip up. Sitting back, squeezing your hip up. Really thinking of that bending from the hips, and then squeezing through the bottom. This is a very good movement to start you going. Now watch your knees. You don't want your knees to bend inwards. I'm just going to turn around just so I show you. So your knees need to remain parallel. You want to avoid going like this, and you want to avoid going like that. So it's just nice and parallel, almost like you have a little bit of a space between them. And you're pushing onto your heels. Don't lift those toes, so keep your foot in contact to the floor. And we have 4 more. Again, you don't need to go all the way. If you want to go all the way, you can lower down and lift back up. 3, 2, 1 more. Very good. Well done. Right, so that's your body warmed up. We're going to turn your attention to seated exercises. So if any one of you was doing it seated, I'm going to give you some options here. So we're going to do some exercises similar to what we've done standing, but into sitting. But the first thing we need to do is get your core to work. So again, I'm going to turn it around so you can see me, but you can keep your chair facing forwards. So Instead of sitting all the way towards the chair, you're going to slide forward so that your feet are onto the floor. Now, the first thing we're going to do is do a bit of roll-ups. Hands can be on your thighs if you're okay, but they can also be underneath your chair if you can't. So we're going to roll down slowly as if you're going to slouch. So in this position, you're going to feel your ribs towards your hips. And then you're going to lift your back, coming right on top of your hips. So I always say, think of having two chopsticks right on top of your hips, between your ribs and your hips. And then we're going to drop down again. And then we're going to rise back up. We're going to drop down again. And then we're going to rise back up. So we're going to do this for 4 more. Anyone who has any sort of back pain, you don't want to push into sharp pain. It will be slightly uncomfortable at times, but just make sure it doesn't get any worse with any of the movements, which is the most important thing. And we're doing 1 more. And then we're going to hold your position upright. So not too far forward, you're just in the middle where your ribs are right on top of your hips, okay? If your ribs are further forward, you're too far forward. So you want to just make sure they're right on top of your hips. Now, let's start with a little bit of leg work. So we're going to start off with your heel raises. We're going to lift up and down, lift up and down. Now this is to start pumping a little bit of blood through into your calf and up right towards your heart. We get quite stagnant sitting down, so we just want to make sure we pump up that circulation. We have 4, 3, 2. We're going to keep going, but we're going to alternate. So we're going to step. So one after the other. Again, we have to check that we make sure we're not collapsing down. We're just alternating between one leg and the other. If you can't do the heel raises, you can lift through the toes instead. So this is another option you can do. We have 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Very good. Now we're going to keep your feet onto the floor. We're going to focus a little bit onto your hips and the thigh muscle. Again, check that you're nice and upright. If you're getting too tired, get a pillow behind you so it supports you a little bit. You don't want to get too tired or they're arching forwards or collapsing back. Now, anyone who has a recent fresh total hip, don't lift high. I would suggest you just focus on the extension one. So we're going to start with the extension one, which is squeezing the thigh muscle nice and straight and then coming back. And we're going to alternate. So rather than just sticking to one leg, we're going to alternate between the two. And I want you to focus on squeezing that kneecap so that you feel this thigh muscle working. Again, whilst you're doing this, you want to avoid collapsing backwards. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your chest nice and upright. But again, you're using your core to keep yourself upright. So we're keeping your ribs away from your hips. You're breathing through. Don't forget to breathe. 1 more. Very good. Now we're going for the hip raises. So these are the ones that it's almost like marching on the spot when we did it in standing. This you could do it in sitting. So if you can't stand up, you can do this. You lift and you lower. You lift and you lower. So this starts to get your core to work even more and starts to get you a little bit of hip flexor work as well. You shouldn't be getting any pain with these exercises. Just make sure you're doing them nice and safe. We have 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Now just check your posture. You can again do a little bit of those roll-ups. If your back started to get a little bit crampy, sometimes it won't be used to exercise, so you just want to ease it off. So we're going to do an easy exercise before we do an increase in your heart rate level. So we're going to go into your bow and arrow. So your arms are going forwards. You're going to bring your elbow back and you're going to reach and then come back. And you're going to go the other way and then come back. And then the other way and then coming back. So we're breathing in, we rotate, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And you're going to keep going, alternate. If you have any issues with the arms, that you can't keep your shoulders up here, cross your hands across your chest and rotate, and then coming back. And rotate, and then come back. You have 4, and then come back. This is the easy version with your hand across the chest. They're a little bit different because you get more range when you're doing it with your hands, but if you have any issues with the shoulders, you have an option to make it easier. One last one, and then drop the hands. Roll the shoulders back. Very good. Now we're going to do another exercise which is a little bit more challenging. So, easy version is just squeezing your butt cheeks together and then letting go. So the actual exercise is a chair sit, which is your hands across the chest, you bend forwards, you lift up, and then come down and straighten. So it's a bend, squeeze, down, lift. So bend forward, squeeze. We're bending forwards. So again, you can think of that mimicking movement that we started off in your warm-up. But this is a little bit lower. And again, you're focusing on that hip back and then straightening. Now, if you can't do that, an easier version, hands onto the chair, you push if you have any handles, and you lift up, and then coming back down. If you can't lift all the way up, you go halfway, and then back up. And if you absolutely cannot do any of those, all I want you to do is clench your butt cheeks together and then relax. Clenching and then relax. So thinking of clenching your butt cheeks, your bottom, and then pull together. And that is already something to start working on. 2 more. So if you manage, go in your chair squat. And do another 2. Breathing in and out. The last one. Very good. Well done. Roll the shoulders back. And we have one more before we do the warming down. So I'm going to turn the chair. This is where your weight comes through. So if you have any weights, it's good. If you don't have any weights, you can use something like the detergent bottle I mentioned before. The beauty with having a detergent bottle is that you can fill it up, as I said, and you can start off with a little bit of water for resistance, a bit more until you can manage to have it all filled up. And it can get up to, I think, about 2, 3, or even 4 kilos at some of them. If you don't have this, you can use a book, you can use anything heavy that you have. Just make sure you are able to do it and you don't get any pain. So again, your back is nice and straight, so it's not collapsed back. You can have a bit of support at the back with a cushion if you need to, but don't sit backwards. Just keep your posture nice and straight. So the full exercise is reaching overhead and then coming back down. Now, if you have any shoulder issues, you can do it without weights. You can do an easier version, which you lift up towards you and then down, almost like a bicep curl. If you have free weights, you can do bicep curls as well instead. So it's entirely up to you. And if you don't want to do bicep curls or lifting high with the shoulders, you can do forward. So anything that you can do to get your arms to work. So let's do a bit of each one of them. So we're reaching over the head for 4, 3. Again, we're making sure we're not collapsing onto that chair. 1 more. Now we're doing your bicep curl. We're doing up and down. Up, just watch your face. Up and down. 1 more. Now we're going forwards. So we're going forwards and then coming back. Reach, come back. Reach, come back. 1 more. Very good. Now, after that, if it's a little bit fuller, you have weights, your heart rate will go up. So we want to try and calm it down back now. So we've done a few exercises where you did strengthening. Now it's a little bit more of calming your heart rate and getting you a little bit more looser through your legs and a bit of stretch. So we're going to start by reaching your legs forwards. I'm going to turn around just to make sure you can see me. So reaching forwards and pulling your toe and then bending forward as far as you can. So this will stretch a little bit through the back of your legs, through your calf. If you have any back issues, just make sure you're not feeling too uncomfortable doing it. And you can also point and flex your ankle if you need to. This will get a bit of neural stretch relief through the back of your leg. 1 more. Very good. And then we go the opposite. Reaching forwards, lean forwards, and then again you can point and flex through that ankle. bending that leg. I'm going to slowly do a little bit of rotation. So one hand across the opposite hip, and then we're going to just reach. So you can keep your hand there, you can keep the hand on the side. You can reach the other way as well. And then we're coming back to the center. We're going to start coming up slowly. I'm going to stretch a little bit your arms. You can do this in sitting if you need to, or you can do them in standing. So I'm just going to move myself here. I'm just going to move this one for you. Right, so stretching a little bit into your hands and into your chest. So we're going to put one hand across. I'm just going to sit here so you can see me. So you can do it in sitting as well. You can chest the other way. Drop your hands, roll the shoulders. We're going to stretch a little bit those calves. So make sure you move everything away. Put your hands both onto the chair. You're going to put one leg behind you, and you're going to bend your front knee. And you're going to keep the heel of the back leg onto the floor. You're going to take a big deep breath in. And breath out, slowly come back. We're going to do the opposite side. Bend the front knee, but keep the heel of the back leg onto the floor. Back. You're going to try and stretch a little bit your hips or your quads. So if you can't do a stretch back, so this is a stretch for your quads. If you cannot do this position, you can also have an option. If you're safe, and make sure if you need for balance, you have another chair, you just lift up. You lift your leg up and just hold it there. You can also use a belt, or you can use anything that you want to stretch open that hip. You really want to try and squeeze your bottom to open up those front of your hips, because we do sit a lot and this is where you need to stretch. And then you do the other side. So again, if you can, lift the leg. If you cannot, place the leg onto the chair and just squeeze forwards, and that just stretches a little bit on the front. And then we come back down. Now we're going to do one last roll down. So this is a roll down in Pilates that we do. If you manage to do it in standing, it's good. If not, I'll show you an option with the chair. So you're going to take a big deep breath in. You're going to breathe out. You're going to drop your chin to the chest. You're going to roll down as far as you're comfortable. And you're going to roll down as far as you can go. And then breathe out, slowly come back up. Bone by bone, thinking of rolling your spine up. Roll the shoulders back. Let's do that twice more. Breathe in. Breathe out, chin to chest, rolling down. And then breath out, slowly coming back up. Rolling the shoulders. One last one, breathing in. Breathing out, chin to chest, rolling down. And then coming back up. Roll the shoulders back. So another option, if you can't do it in standing, you do it in sitting, and you can do half of it. So you go deep breath in. Breath out, chin to chest, you collapse down, and you lean towards your knees and your chest and your thighs, and then coming back up, you really open up, thinking of that roll up and lifting your shoulders and your head. So one more breath in, breath out, chin to chest, dropping your chest, and leaning a bit forwards, and then coming up, lifting up. Roll the shoulders. Well done. Right, so that's about it from my end for today. If you have any questions about anything that we've done, please let me know. And I promise, if the video isn't clear enough, to try and make it better next time. As I said, or as you might know, we are still open at the clinic, but very limited staff, and we are happy to do some virtual appointments with you. And also I am planning on doing some virtual classes, so if anyone is interested in anything similar or different, I'm going to be doing some more videos in the coming weeks to make it a bit higher level. So we'll have no chair next time, just to show you a different level. And I'm also plan on doing some strength-based programs that I know some of you have asked for, and it is basically to replace some of the things that you might be doing at the gym. against weight to keep your strength conditioning going during this period of time where you aren't able to go and you have no weights at the gym. So I'll try and work on those and keep an eye out. So please like our social media pages if you can, and we also have a YouTube page now. So for those of you who are not on social media, you can see us on YouTube. Thank you and have a good day.